Hello and welcome to ASPA's podcast. I am Anna Weber and I am ASPA's marketing coordinator. With me today, I have Kayla Andrews. Kayla is the director of human resources at the Morgan County Charter School System in Madison, Georgia, and she's joining us today to talk a little bit about leadership development. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kayla.
Thank you so much for having me. I was really excited to get the opportunity.
Yeah, I think this is going to be amazing. Before we get started, would you mind sharing just a little bit with us about your background?
Yes. So I have been in HR a little over 6 years now. My HR journey started kind of unexpectedly. I was completing my bachelor's degree in 2018, and it was in business administration with a concentration in management. And I was a little unsure about what to do with that degree. I was currently working at the Boys and Girls Club of North Central Georgia as the executive assistant to the CEO, and then also as the HR director. And I kind of was just thrown into being in HR. That's not what I was initially hired for. But the person left and they didn't know what to do or didn't have anybody. So I started kind of learning more about HR. I took a certification through HRCI, and it was an associate professional certification. So it allowed me to get like the background knowledge of different federal and state laws and kind of how HR worked. So I obtained that certification. And then once I graduated, I kind of was like, I didn't really go to school to be someone's assistant. So I want to use my degree. And I really just wanted to solely be over HR. But in nonprofit, you have to wear a lot of hats. And sometimes funding is kind of low. And so they weren't able to allow me to just serve as the HR person. And so I started to look for other opportunities where I could actually work in HR. And I obtained a position as an HR assistant at a logistics company, and I worked there for 2 years. And within that 2 year span, I was promoted to HR generalist. And upon me leaving in 2020, it was because of this opportunity here at the school system in the hometown where I grew up and the school system where I graduated from. So I was so happy to come back and serve as the director of HR here in the school system where I graduated from. And it's been great. I love the education system. It's a little different from corporate world. So it was kind of a learning curve in that sense because I had to learn like the different education laws and how things kind of work, because HR and education, there's like a process in place for different things, and you're dealing with people that are certified, and it's just a different world in a sense, but HR at its core is still the same. So that's kind of my journey of being in HR. I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, and then I'm also a wife. So, that's just a little about me.
I love hearing how our members come into the world of school HR because I feel like everyone's path is so different. You hardly ever hear two people that get into it the same way. So I love hearing from members about how they came into the world of school HR. So let's get into talking about leadership development. In your eyes, what makes a great leader?
To me, I feel like a great leader depends on a specific situation and the people involved. Because a lot of times leaders are presented with different situations, you're presented with different people and personalities. And so for me, the best leader is someone that can adapt their style to the specific needs of their team and their organization.
And what has been one of your biggest challenges as a leader?
I think working in a constantly changing environment, HR is a changing environment because we have to deal with so many different federal, state, local laws when we're, handling people and doing different processes. And so keeping everyone on the same page and working towards the same goal can kind of be challenging. And so when you're in a work environment and you come into contact with so many different people and personalities, it's sometimes hard to engage and communicate with people when you're dealing with so many different personalities. So I think it's important for leaders to master the skill of communicating effectively with a diverse group of people.
And you came into the world of school HR at such an exciting time in 2020. I'm sure that you got to have a lot of fun experiences when you first joined your current district, talking about leadership.
The pandemic was in itself, I think, coming from the logistics company into HR, it was a little Less stressful, to be honest, because with the logistics company, we were using temp agencies because people weren't coming to work. But then when you got to the school system, you were then having to do like contact tracing with students and staff. It sounds like it was a lot, but to me, it was a little bit less because you knew people wanted to be here and work for the students.
Yeah, that is something that I think we learned in 2020 is that people who love education are going to show up and go through hell and high water to make sure that they get to be in their building. What is one of the most dangerous behaviors or traits that you've seen derail a leader's career?
Just in working over the years, I think when people are dishonest, I think that is a dangerous trait for a leader to have. Number one, when a leader isn't, honest with their staff, their clients or their customers or whoever the situation is individuals will quickly begin to lose trust and respect for you when they sense that you've been dishonest. And I think as a leader, you lose your effectiveness once someone feels that they can't trust you. And so once trust is lost, it can be difficult to regain, especially for a leader when you have people looking up to you and following you.
Think that that is a very, very important thing. But I just think that being upfront with people, especially in a work environment where, like in education, you work so closely together that you have to be able to trust each other and know that somebody's looking out for you.
Right.
What is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess?
There's many that leaders should possess, but I think the most important one is the ability to reason. I think this allows leaders to be able to make sound decisions and the ability to kind of think through a problem or an issue and then try to develop a plan for a solution is very important. And this is also essential when you're dealing with conflict in the workplace. A good leader who can kind of see both sides and then of every issue and then find a way to resolve the conflict that way where all parties feel like they were treated fairly. I think it's important to be able to have the ability to reason.
Absolutely. Building off of that a little bit, what skills do you most often use in your leadership role?
I kind of spoke about communication a little earlier, but I think effective communication is one skill, problem solving, and then also decision making. Because when you're a leader, having these skills are essential to providing direction and guidance to those individuals that you are leading. And so effective communication is crucial to convey, expectations clearly, and without clear communication, it can be difficult for those that you are leading to understand what is expected of them if, you don't have effective communication. And then also adding in, problem solving and then making decisions.
And how do you foster a positive work environment where everyone feels like they can communicate effectively and feel like their voices are heard?
I know most people think you have to do all these things to make an environment like the best place in the world, but I think the most important thing that you need to do is you yourself need to have a positive outlook and attitude. So that way you're setting the example and showing others positivity. And usually that radiates throughout a work environment when you have individuals that are positive. And so this can be very contagious and it can also help foster a productive and enjoyable work environment.
Absolutely. And what do you do in your time that helps you be a better leader?
So I always kind of feel like I'm a person that loves learning. I love learning things and kind of being in the know. So I'm always kind of constantly looking for ways to learn new things. And I think in my time, I usually look up HR materials and I also read different leadership books. And I also listen to podcasts. So one of the people that I adore as a leader is John Maxwell. He gives great, great points about being a leader. And if anybody is looking on how to be a leader, I think following John Maxwell and his material is a good way to start. And then I'm also a part of several HR organizations. So GASPA, which is like the state level of what ASPA is. And then I'm also a member of ASPA. And then I'm also a member of SHRM. And so just using those tools, you can get several resources to kind of stay, updated as far as the different knowledge of HR and just things as being a leader in general.
We love John Maxwell in this office. I think that we carry two or three of his books in our bookstore. And I love that you spoke about gas, but our state affiliates are such a tremendous resource. We're a great resource, but sometimes it's even better to have that communication with somebody that you know is only a couple of miles away in a different district. And state regulations and laws are so different across the country that those state affiliates are such an invaluable resource, especially in the world of HR that's so small. It's sometimes can be isolating. So I love that our state affiliates sort of foster this sense of community in a state. Kayla, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been amazing to talk to you. Would you mind sharing where our listeners can find you?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook. In more of a professional sense, I use LinkedIn. So if people want to reach out to me and follow me on LinkedIn, I'm there. And that's where you can kind of find me.
And she'll be tagged in the LinkedIn post when the podcast goes live, so you'll be able to find her right there.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kayla.
Thank you.